affordable fragrances for men for daily use. So I made one of these videos for women's fragrances, like affordable daily use fragrances, but some people have requested that I do one for men's fragrances, so here I am doing this again. And I have a small list of fragrances that I think fit the bill pretty well. And as always, all the fragrances I mentioned will be available down in the description below. Now I'm going to start with one that's pretty popular. Most people have known about this or tried it by now, but I do have to mention it because it is a good choice. Versace Dylan Blue. All the fragrances are going to be under $100 here, so more on the affordable side. Dylan Blue, I believe, is around $50 to $60, but it does depend on the size of the bottle you have. This is a really nice daily option, just going out to get groceries, going to work. Super versatile. You could pretty much wear this anytime, anywhere. It is a fresh type of fragrance, kind of sharp, a little bit metallic, a little bit with some black pepper notes, also a little bit aquatic. So in general, very fresh, refreshing, good for the summer especially. But even if it's not the summer, if it's still winter, you could still wear it. It's a really, really versatile option. Plus, despite being kind of on the lighter, fresher side, it actually has pretty good longevity. Usually longevity is around 7-ish hours for most people, so you don't have to worry about reapplying the fragrance throughout the day. It really just sticks to your skin and does the job properly. Plus it has pretty good projection as well. People will definitely notice that you're wearing this. And it's arguably one of the most complimented men's fragrances on the market. I mean, anytime you look it up, it's just super popular. It has a ton of reviews, positive reviews. So again, if you really just don't want to think too much about a fragrance, you just want to smell good and that's it, Dylan Blue is probably the best way to go. Now, the only thing about Dylan Blue is that it is very mainstream. Maybe you want something a little less mainstream. Then I would say also a little bit more sophisticated. Pretty much any kind of Dior Homme. This is the original, which is hard to find, but again, like the Eau de Toilette, that's a very good kind of comparable option. Dior Homme, it's usually around $90-ish, maybe a little less depending on where you get it, but I love Dior Homme. Again, any version of Dior Homme is really, really good. The original version here has a really delicious note of iris. It's very fresh, even a little bit powdery, kind of clean. Definitely like a good work fragrance or a casual fragrance, or you could even wear this during the evening. Basically, super versatile as well. Pretty good longevity as well, better than you would expect from this type of light fragrance. I would say, again, around 7 hours for this one as well. And projection's also really good. People will definitely notice, in you're probably in the whole room actually, people can smell this. It has surprisingly good projection. And of course, just the Dior brand, they're known for producing very high quality products, and this is no different. And you could always kind of try out different types of Dior Homme because they all smell a little bit different. Now, if you want something maybe a little bit heavier, but still versatile enough for the daytime and not just the evening, Valentino Valentina, the just kind of traditional version, very, very good choice. It is probably best for the winter or autumn, just cold weather in general, but it is, I would argue, versatile enough to wear it for most of the year. Maybe not in the middle of summer because it's just too heavy for that, but otherwise really good for most of the year. It has some myrtle notes, it has some leather, a little bit of kind of like velvetiness to it. So definitely on the heavier side, but again, still you could wear this during the daytime, no problem, as more of a casual type of fragrance, especially again during the winter and that sort of thing. Now this, because it is heavier, it's much longer lasting. I would say probably 8 to 9 hours of longevity plus better projection. So you don't need to put on too much of this to really get noticed, just like a few, basic sprays and you're pretty much good to go. But this is actually one of my favorite men's fragrances because it has the nice kind of coziness and warmth to it. It's a very, very attractive type of fragrance without being too heavy or too in your face, too crazy or anything. It's very well balanced. And of course, if you like the kind of base version of Valentino Valentina, they do have several other versions as well. I haven't tried those yet, but from this I can imagine that they're all pretty good. Now, the next one, for another kind of nice, casual, breezy sort of option, light blue, not this particular version because this is a woman's version, but the men's version of light blue, very, very nice, especially for when the weather starts warming up. Generally just a very fresh, crisp, clean, citrusy type of fragrance. It's hard to go wrong with it because it's so well liked. I haven't come across anyone who dislikes light blue, either the men's or women's version. It's just kind of the go-to option for those who want something simple, effective, fresh, clean, you know, pretty much everything you would want from that type of fragrance. Now, because it is a lighter fragrance, the longevity and the projection do have to suffer a little bit. It's more of an intimate, subtle type of fragrance, but it does have a nice natural feel to it. It's really nice just to put on after you get out of the shower, or again for the summertime, because it is a very fresh, clean, a little bit aquatic type of fragrance. But if you want something similar but a little stronger, then I would recommend Drakkar Noir, which I do not have at the moment. I used to have a sample, but I used it up. Drakkar Noir, I always say it's kind of like the original version of Dylan Blue, because I find that they're a little bit similar. Drakkar Noir was a really, really popular fragrance during the 80s. I would argue, it is less popular now, but I would argue it's still really, really good. It's primarily an aromatic, fresh type of fragrance, again, very similar to Dylan Blue. Super sharp, super clean, kind of a pepperiness thrown in there as well. Definitely really good for hot weather, although, despite being a bit on the cold side, I will say it does actually do remarkably well in cold weather as well, because it does have a little bit of warmth and pepperiness in there. So I would say year-round type of fragrance, and again, super versatile, daytime or nighttime wear. And this is the most affordable fragrance on the whole list. Every time I see it, it's usually around $30-ish, maybe 40, but definitely super affordable. You get a pretty large bottle as well. But yeah, definitely a very masculine, very fresh and clean type of fragrance. Don't let the fact that it's from the 80s deter you. You know, it is a very nice smelling fragrance, even in today's fragrance market. But the longevity on that is also very intense, probably mostly comparable to Dylan Blue, around 7-ish hours, and pretty good projection as well. But that is pretty much my list for affordable men's fragrances for daily use. So hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, of course, you can leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.